I'm just going to give 3 or 4 quick reasons why I don't think the tithe is in effect today, okay? 3 or 4 quick ones. Number 1, that tithe scripture says bring all the tithe. You know what the tithe percentage was in Israel? It wasn't 10%. It was between 23 and 27%. There was multiple tithes. So next time somebody tells you that they're obeying God by giving 10%, tell them they're cursed according to Malachi, because they're not bringing in 27. It's the truth. There were multiple tithes. If you add up all the tithes in the book of Leviticus, it totals about 22 to 23% of your, sometimes 27, depends how you do some calculations. So the 10% thing is fantasy. Even though the word tithe means 10%, it was 10% of this, 10% of this, 10% of this, to about a 23 to 27% total. So if you start getting in an argument with somebody that hit them with that and say, oh, I'm so sorry that you're cursed by God for not tithing appropriately. Yeah, number 2, the same law that endorses the tithe says the tithe was for the Levites. Why? Because they were forbidden from owning property. How many pastors who badger you for the tithe got a fat car and a fat parsonage and a cottage? You can't have it both ways. You can't take half a verse and say it's binding on you guys, but the half that speaks to them, they don't have to deal with. Completely disingenuous. Number 3, well, you know, the tithe predated the law because Melchizedek tithed. Time out. I'm stupid enough to believe in the whole context of a verse. What did Melchizedek tithe from? Stuff he took from other people by killing them. And so you're going to make that the model for giving? You can't take part of a passage that suits you and apply it to everybody. He tithed from somebody else's stuff. The spoils of war. So to take that passage and normalize it for church existence is crazy. It's crazy. So the book, sometimes people say, Steve, you need to write a book on this. In my opinion, the book has already been written by a guy by the name of Matthew Naramore, called The Tithe, Low Order, Obsolete, and Defunct. If that book doesn't convince somebody, there is nothing I can say going to convince. How many of you have read Matthew's book? A good book, right? I mean, it just puts it to bed, period. He does a great job.
For additional books, materials, and resources, including Kindle, EPUB, and PDF files, please go to stevecrosby.com. For free articles, MP3s, and resources, go to stevecrosby.org.